with me. Up to the last minute, I was getting supports off of today's subject. I'm gonna lay her right here. I'll do all the explaining. I've got the finished noodles here. I'm really excited about the work I did with her and her DJ. I think the colors pop. I also managed to paint and get a 2D figure for a friend as a cheer up for him. It has been a busy week of print, and I have the little noodles dancing because honestly, the Dare video is my favorite. I am definitely going to display her. I think this was a fun and good paint job. I just wanted to show you the finished product. We also did a little, I think we're going to put this one on the bookshelf. It's Cowboy Bebop. I did a little YouTube short. It has the title. It has their names. Little quotes like, you're going to carry that weight. And see you, Space Cowboy. So it has been a really great week for me for printing. I got a couple of commissions done, including another strawberry shortcake. Let me get that reference up here. This is what I painted for a lady and got it sent to her. But I'm going to do a bit of an alternative version for my own personal strawberry shortcake. Well, Rainbow Bright. I don't know why I said strawberry shortcake. Because I got an orange blossom doll that I'm going to be printing out soon for the She just does not want to stand because it's not even. There we go. Well, we'll just lay her down for now. We got Orange Blossom. I used to have the doll when I was a kid that I'm going to be making and painting for my collection. But since the one I made for the lady came out so nice, and I have to once again thank Triple Studios for that, I decided that I was going to do my own alternative one. I still plan on doing the chic. I'm hoping Tuesday's cast, which I'm going to change things up just a little bit for format, because I want to test some things before I go back to YouTube for those live streams. And I have a backlog of C-dramas that I intend to watch and review, so I'm excited about that. And I'm just getting my paints ready. Let me bop Noodles dancing down too, since I already showed you guys what she looked like. And we're going to get fired up soon. Like I said, I was down to the wire with getting everything together for this paint and chat, craft and chat, because I really truly wanted to get the supports off of my figure. Now, those of you who don't 3D print, I print with filament. It's good for people who are just learning how to 3D print, despite what some naysayer tried to say in my comment section about it. I am learning very well from taking my time with filament print, even though getting supports off can be a pain in the ass. And that is the one caveat that I will give to that commenter. You know, I know resin prints would come out cleaner, but resin printers are very expensive. And as somebody who's new to 3D printing, I didn't want to jump into such things inexperienced. So, once again, thank you for your advice, but it was unneeded, unnecessary, and very rude the way you phrased it. But beyond that, I've had a really fun week of 3D printing. I am kicking the table. Very excited about the prospects of people wanting these, commissioning me to make them specialized prints. I've been doing a whole line of Gorillas prints as well, because they're going to be part of the holiday giveaway that I start in November. I hope to have a shit ton of phases to share with people. And don't mind me, I am almost done. Just trying to find the brown for her eyes. Need a little bit of orange too for part of the sneakers. We got the whole Roy G. Biv spectrum. For those of you who remember that, and there we go. Roy G. Biv for science nerds out there are the colors of the rainbow. Now, fun fact about Rainbow Bright and me is that when I was a kid, it came out. I was like 7 years old when the series first aired, and I was a fanatic for it. I think it overtook Care Bears for me for a while, which is crazy because I'm a huge Care Bear fan. Those were my first custom prints that I started doing. And I had these pajamas, these nightgowns that I ran into the freaking ground wearing because I loved Rainbow Bright so much. And I've got a specialized print with her and Starlight that I loved it. I cannot wait to get that printed out and painted. But we've got our paints ready. All the colors of the spectrum and then some. We've got Rainbow Bright, my version, since this is going to be my personal one. I've got my brushes ready, and we're going to discuss politics, social issues, all that fun stuff. I also got a nice warm cup of tea and my okay whatever dum dum tumbler. It keeps things nice and warm. And it's on sale in my merch shop, which I'll have all the links in the show notes for. In fact, let me make sure I fix this one. Merch. Because my Twitch stuff doesn't always work the way I want it. And it didn't. Lovely. It's fine though. I will definitely get these sound alerts and other stuff working soon. Let's see if the book one works before we get started. Because I know I put these commands in and Nightbot says they work. So I don't know. Let's see. Yep. The book one work at least. But I will get the merch shop link working at some point. In fact, I can grab that really quick. If you want your okay, whatever dum dum merchandise, you can pick it up in our shop. Let's see. I have a lot of shout outs for people. I wonder if they even still stream. Oh, these are for winners of the giveaway. Let's see. All right, there we go, the merch. Oh, that's why I have it coming up regularly in intervals. That makes more sense. I didn't create that. I just have it where it's supposed to pop up. But let me get the merch thing. If you want your okay, whatever dum dum, they come in different types of tumblers too. You can pick them up right in that shop. And like I said, they may be a part of the giveaways, but I don't know. I enjoy it. I use my own metal straws though. I did not buy the one with the actual straw in it because I'd rather use my own. But we are going to get things started with week 2, day 17, probably 18 if you're watching this re-upload on YouTube later, of the government shutdown. And there were breaking news that the Dum Dum Brigade, the Dumb Dictatorship, is going to launch a big ass Marine brigade on California. I'm calling it a brigade because they're lying and saying, oh, it's going to be for our troops. We're celebrating the Marines' anniversary. And it's like, no, you're trying to intimidate No Kings protesters. And the only people that are going to buy your lies is your dumb base at this point. And unfortunately, this is how Trump and his ilk operate. They think it is okay to use troops that they're not paying because of this shutdown to intimidate peaceful protests by American citizens. It is a complete mess, and nobody should be shocked. This is all Trump, Hess Skirts, the couch fucker J.D. Vance, and his main dick gobbler, which is what the DG in this title is, Mike Johnson, who is not doing his job as Speaker of the House, who is probably the worst Speaker of the House in the history of Speaker of the Houses. And I say this as somebody who remembers Rance Priebus and others. But he's far from the only Republican that is a waste of space. So we are going to open up with my favorite Sith Lord, Mitch McConnell, and his spectacle as a protester. Just wanted to ask him some questions about what's going on in our current Congress and why shit isn't getting done. We'll open up with this video because it tickled me a little bit. You know, I have no love lost for this 83-year-old waste of a space. He gets on my nerves. He should have been retired, and I'm over this.
Excuse me, Senator? My name is Stella. I want to ask, do you support ICE taking working people off the streets and kidnapping them?
Yeah, answer the question. Oh, look at that tumble. I have to go darker with the brown.
Do you support ICE taking working people off the streets and kidnapping them?
Over and over, right? Now, when you see something like that, the nice person in me, and it does exist. I do have a nice side. It's just buried under rage a lot. But the nice person in me would have been like, oh, that grandpa fell down. Somebody help him. But the person in me that knows who Mitch McConnell is, I can't help but think karma is definitely taking gravity out from under his turtle feet. And people are over this. People like him don't deserve sympathy or empathy as far as I'm concerned. Because he knew what a danger Donald Trump was to America from the first term, from the insurrection and everything else. And this man who literally served in our Congress longer than he should have is just another sycophant who looks away from these false displays of power, including turning our military onto citizens. I'll have to fix that later. I'll get the paint settled later. And I know some people will be like, Tim, why are you making fun of that old man? Because that old man is a symptom of what's wrong with our government right now. A bunch of yes men and women too afraid to do their jobs as sitting acting Congress members and kowtowing to this regime. While they commit acts of atrocity, while they have our government shut down and not able to pay military people, but are yet ordering them to deploy into states, which is illegal. Trump has no literal reason to do this, except he perceives blue states as his enemy. So many news sites have been, we've never seen this in our lifetime. And of course we haven't, because most presidents are for America. But we are under a literal regime, and it is frustrating that anybody wants to pretend otherwise. But the young lady was just asking Mitch McConnell questions, and he couldn't even answer that. They run. They try to hide. They deny. Oh, we don't see it. We don't get it. The main culprit of that today is Maga Mike Johnson. But I also, because I didn't forget about this, it's been the big topic this week. This whole week felt like 80 years. I'm not even going to joke around. It's sweater weather, shawl weather. It's getting chilly. But I'm fired up because the Republicans have no bottom at this point. I'm sure if you're listening to me, you've heard about these young Republicans, I put that in quotation, who are literal praisers of Hitler, who had a bunch of racist texts that Politico outed. Here's CBS News, Face the Nation, talking about it. Because the Republicans are trying to cover for these people. Some are saying it's abhorrent, but most of them, like J.D. Vance, says, oh, they're just joking. We don't joke with Nazis. The only good Nazi is a dead Nazi, as far as I'm concerned. But let's get this Face the Nation up so that you can hear for yourself just how boring this was.
Thousands of messages shared in a group chat of young Republicans is revealing some racist thoughts that they even worried about being leaked. Well, those exchanges have been leaked, obtained by Politico, and are part of a Telegram chat among young Republican leaders in the following states: New York, Kansas, Arizona, and Vermont.
From New York. This is why I tell people, like, oh, New York is a blue bastion. It's a blue safe zone. Bullshit. Some of you just feed that lie narrative. I lived in New York. It's like those people that are like, oh, so many people live in New York, it can't be racist. Remind you that the only time my family's life was under threat by a psycho former NYPD person was in New York because he didn't want us in his neighborhood. Shit like that went on in New York. Just because you have a bunch of different ethnicities living together doesn't mean it's harmonious. And doesn't mean there aren't bigots in New York. But these young Republicans who I sent in short on social media, they all look like they're older than me and I'm damn near 50. But it's hilarious to me that these fuckers out there, oh, we don't want these to get out. But why not be loud and proud with your ideology? Maybe because you know that in normal society, the shit you're saying isn't acceptable. These people belong under rocks. They belong hidden. They don't belong in positions of power.
New York State politics reporter Jason Bieferman is one of the journalists who wrote about this for Politico. Jason, tell us about this story, how it came to you, and what was exchanged in these Telegram messages based on what your reporting has revealed.
Politico obtained over 7 months of thousands and thousands of messages in a Telegram group chat between, like you said, leaders in the young Republican state organizations in Arizona, New York, Kansas, and Vermont. Now, it's kind of a misnomer, young Republicans, because it's called the Young Republicans, but these are, full-grown adults, 18 to 40 years old.
I knew it.
Over the course of these 7 months, they exchanged messages with, extremely anti-Semitic and racist comments.
And all of these Republicans for Israel. These fuckers who are trying to stoke up divide. You got Trump calling peaceful protesters pro-Hamas. All of these people who claim to be Jewish that support this regime. You are supporting people who are very anti-Semitic. You think your goals align because you all hate the same people. But in the end, they will get to you too. Because these are people literally praising a man who caused the death of 6 million German citizens that happen to be Jewish. But do go on, because your hate is just going to consume you.
Referred to black people as monkeys, or the watermelon people. They called rape.
They're not even fucking original with their bullshit, and it's because they're jealous. Like, these motherfuckers age like spoiled milk, and they just can't. They get mad that black don't crack. I'm telling you, I'm probably the same age, if not older than a lot of them, and they look like Sif Taint has worn them the fuck down. I do not even understand how these people function. But, when you got leaders like Stephen Miller, who looks like an uncircumcised penis himself, are you shocked? I know I'm not shocked. It's ridiculous. Come on, girlie, just stand up. Maybe if I double this like this. I just don't want to get paint on Axiom Wolf's My Hero thing. There we go. So you got these fuckers literally selling these horrible text messages, and it's just ridiculous. Okay, so this is going to be an alternate. So
epic. They talked about the love of Hitler really with factions of their party, or even supporting slavery. This was a chat with members elected to lead their states within a prominent Republican youth political organization that numbers 15,000 people, and they were in a campaign to lead this organization nationally. My colleague and I, my colleague Emily, we really looked into this and wanted to see, why are they speaking like that to each other? And does this have anything to do with kind of the way that the norms of our political discourse have been changing, some would say, since President Trump came to power?
Now, that's the bullshit I don't agree with. Because a lot of people want to still play stupid and be like, this isn't who we are. This is just because of Trump. No, this is who this racist ass country always was, always will be, until people open up their eyes and see it gets you nowhere. But to act like, oh, this discourse only came from Trump, bullshit. If anything, it's always been, but it ramped up a lot worse after President Obama was elected and after VP Harris became the first female vice president, Black and Indian female vice president. The hate always ramps up when people of color assume positions that people think we don't deserve. So you need to stop with the whole, this only happens under Trump. No, it's just loud. It's more of a megaphone under Donald Trump. But it's always been this way.
And Jason, key question. No one disputes the validity of these text exchanges on Telegram. No one told you, oh, that didn't happen. They've all agreed that this is what happened and these are real.
That's correct. We really did our due diligence here. We reached out to every single member of the chat who was quoted in the story. We told them exactly what we were going to say, and they never once pointed to a single quotation and said, that's not true. In their statements, they opened the possibility that perhaps the chats were doctored, but the bulk of their statements were really apologizing and acknowledging that these messages, which they wrote, were harmful and hateful. And, there's already been, there were 2 people that lost their job, that they lost their job before the story even came out. Now, since its publication, we've had 2 other people lost their jobs. So already 4 people have been fired as a result of this story. And we're seeing statements from Schumer, House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, and others. And we're going to really see how the fallout continues to play out on this.
If there is fallout,
and when we have more on that, I hope you'll come back. Jason Beefman, Political. I appreciate it very much. Thank you.
Big idea. And it's just ridiculous to me how so many people will cover for this wrong, but then accuse the left, whether it's far left, whether it's moderate, or whether it's just simple Dems, of doing stuff that are bad for the country. Let me just fix the camera here again. And I think what is upsetting is how many people are still falling for this okie doke. And it's ridiculous at this point, but it's not surprising. And on to our main topic today, Mike Johnson. I've got quite a few videos on him, thanks to Anonymous. Oh, also, quick Texas Paul break. I cannot not have a Craft and Chat without him. We've seen the Trump witch hunts. He's already gone after Jim Comey, Letitia James. Now he's gone after John Bolton. I've got either Jeff Sessions or Bill Barr who's going to be next, because the man blames everybody but himself for his derelict duties during his first term, and he's on a full crusade to bury anybody remotely close to law enforcement who he deemed harm him. Let's get Texas Paul fired up before we start on MAGA Mike the Dick Gobbler Johnson. Okay, get you fired up there.
John Bolton getting indicted is the definition of mixed emotions. Part of me is just full of schadenfreude. I mean, he
was a piece of shit.
He caused this. He was more than happy when he was making his money to bend the rules and build up this right-wing machine that is now turned on him.
So was Comey.
It was fine when it was just, Democrats that were getting screwed over what he helped create. But, part of me is just like, good. I'm glad he got indicted. But the decent American in me is horrified.
Yeah.
I mean, this is just nonsensical political attacks, utilizing the Department of Justice to attack political opponents. And we just can't have that. Not in a free country. Donald Trump is not worth any of this damage to our country that he is doing, which is lasting, because I will tell you, I am a low road Democrat. I am not for, expressing the best behavior just because we're better than they are.
Exactly.
No, my strategy is to do...
Not to even interrupt him, but I said this years ago on Twitter. All you high road Democrats that want to break bread and find a come to Jesus moment with these Republicans, how low do they have to go before you realize that the only way to fight them is to literally fight them? This whole let's find common ground with Nazis is not going to work for me. And they are literally, we type that praises Hitler level Nazis for them young Republicans especially. It's like, how many more times do they have to show you who they are before you realize that they are never going to be on our side? Because it is getting ridiculous at this point. Using not young people. This is ridiculous.
What they do, and worse, until they beg us to stop. I don't want to be the one asking them to pass legislation to prevent this kind of thing. I want them begging us. So yeah, it's definitely the definition of mixed emotions for me. I don't know. How do you feel?
I don't have mixed emotions. I have schadenfreude for John Bolton because, like you said, he did cause a lot of this to happen. But I also feel like when you corrupt criminal justice like this, which it's already bad for a lot of us, it sets an awful precedent that can be used against any American citizen this regime deems an enemy. And I'm telling you, I had a nightmare back after the election last year of them just rounding up American citizens willy-nilly and subjecting us to kangaroo trials. And I don't want that to be the case, but you never know. But we're going to get to one of the worst people I've ever had to cover. Back when I did the Bonnet Chronicles, I talked about this man's weirdo obsession with porn, transgender, and LGBTQ plus people. How him and his son, he proudly bragged about a tattletale app to monitor himself and his son from watching adult films. Mike Johnson is a freak. And he's one of the worst freaks because he hides his freak-off nature behind a fake sense of morality. And he's very dangerous because he's using the name of religion and God to spread hatred, to spread misinformation, and to not do his job. He is seriously in dereliction of his duty as leader of the House. And it is beyond me that he's getting away with this. But I have this first in a series of 3 videos by Anonymous just talking about how ridiculous Mike Johnson, the dick gobbler, is. So let's get this fired up.
Are the voice that power cannot silence the light that exposes what they try to hide. Tonight, we reveal the full story behind how Maga Mike Johnson is being sued for his illegal shutdown campaign and for obstructing democracy itself. The story begins in Arizona. On September 23, 2025, a special election was held to replace the late Congressman Raul Grijalva in Arizona's 7th Congressional District. His daughter Adelita Grijalva ran for the seat and won by a landslide, nearly 70% of the vote. The results were certified by the Arizona Secretary of State, by Governor Katie Hobbs, and by Attorney General Chris Mays. Every legal formality was complete. Yet despite all that, Adelita was never sworn in. Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the House, simply refused to administer the oath. His excuse: the government was shut down. He claimed the House wasn't in session.
But, and before they even get to it, because they're probably going to say what I said, that's a lie. He could have swore her in before the shutdown. Now he's using the shutdown as an excuse not to do his job as a Speaker of the House. Now, had this been Nancy Pelosi, who you know I went from being a fan of hers to, because of the Judas Caucus, not wanting to say anything about her because I don't have anything nice to say about her. If she had even remotely did this and held up an appointment of a Republican, the news outlets would have been burning everything down, calling her out her face. But because the failed Hydra agent Mike Johnson's doing this, it's almost crickets. It's ridiculous.
And that she would have to wait. But that was a lie. Johnson had already sworn in multiple Republican members during pro forma sessions when the House was technically closed. He applied one standard for Republicans and a completely different one for Democrats. Arizona's Attorney General Chris Mays wasn't having it. She sent a formal demand letter to Johnson, warning him that if he didn't seat Adelita immediately, she would take him to court. She cited the Constitution, Federalist Papers, and congressional precedent. She reminded him that the House has no power to block a duly elected and certified representative. Her words were clear. By refusing to swear in Grijalva, Johnson was violating the Constitution and denying more than 800,000 Arizonans their right to representation. Yep. In her letter, Mays called out Johnson's ever-shifting and absurd excuses. First, he claimed results weren't certified. Then he said he'd wait until the House reconvened. Then he blamed the shutdown. But none of those reasons held up. She demanded an immediate answer when and where the swearing-in would take place, and she gave him 2 days to respond before legal action. Here's the truth Maga Mike doesn't want you to hear. Adelita Grijalva isn't being blocked because of paperwork. She's being blocked because she's the 218th signature needed to release the Epstein files. That's the real reason. Her vote would expose the connections, the cover-ups, the names that Trump's inner circle desperately wants buried. When reporters pressed him, Johnson stumbled through excuses. At one point he said, "We'll schedule it as soon as she wants." Another time he said, "It has nothing to do with that at all." But everyone watching could see the panic.
Earlier this year, you swore in 2 Republican members during the pro forma session. So why not swear in Adelita Grijalva, who was elected 2 weeks ago during the pro forma session? Does it have to do with her 218th signature on the discharge petition, the Epstein discharge?
No, it has nothing to do with that at all. We will swear her in when everybody gets back. It's a ceremonial duty.
You don't need everybody to be back. It has been proven that you have done plenty of swearing in without the full Congress. Mike Johnson is not only a weirdo who has creepy fetishes about him and his son tattletaling on each other for peeping on adult sites, but he also just does not do his job well. And like the guy before him that took 15 confirmation tries, he shouldn't be in power. Republicans do not know how to lead, period.
Look, we'll schedule it, I guess, as soon as she wants. It has nothing to do with it. We're in pro forma session because there is nothing for the House to do. The House has done its job. People say, why don't you do more? Let's do more. Now you should do something. We already did something. It was passing a clean CR.
Even Marjorie Taylor Greene, one of Trump's loudest loyalists, reportedly called Johnson a weak, pathetic little man.
He is, and she's a freak. But don't let this fool you. I said it the last Craft and Chat. This is just old Marge's way of trying to clear her association with this regime because everybody can see the sink and ship. These people should not be in charge of anything. It is ridiculous.
And that's coming from his own side. Meanwhile, Democrats weren't staying silent. They marched together to Johnson's office on Capitol Hill, demanding he swear Adelita in. Johnson wasn't even there. Right-wing media mocked the protest, claiming Democrats were storming his office and that the House couldn't conduct business because of the shutdown.
Bullshit.
But the truth is, simpler, Johnson was using the shutdown as a political weapon. He was holding Arizona's voice hostage to protect Trump's secrets. Governor Katie Hobbs of Arizona released her own statement, saying, Adelita Grijalva has been certified as the next representative for the 7th District. Further delay undermines the will of Arizona voters. Adelita herself stood in front of Johnson's locked office doors in Washington, recording a video message. She said, I am certified. The governor, the attorney general, and the secretary of state have all said, yes, she won. Now they're asking Speaker Johnson to swear me in. I'll be here for 2 days. Speaker Johnson, you want to swear me in?
Hi friends, Adelita Grijalva, your Congresswoman-elect. I'm here in DC, standing right outside of Speaker Johnson's office. I was certified today. Certified. That means the governor, the attorney general, and the Secretary of State have all said, yes, she won. And now they're asking Speaker Johnson, demanding that he swear me in. So that's why I'm here. I came with a lot of my colleagues from the Democratic Caucus and the Women's Caucus. They all joined me in asking, demanding that I get sworn in. I'm going to be here for 2 days. Speaker Johnson, you want to swear me in?
As Adelita waited outside those doors, the people of her district were suffering. Flooding had hit southern Arizona, and constituents had no representative to advocate for aid, no office to call for help. Chris Mays reminded Johnson of that too, telling him that his delay was not just illegal, but cruel. And then came the final insult. When asked on Fox News if he was stalling to block the Epstein files, Johnson rolled his eyes and tried to laugh it off.
He's a sassy bitch. I'm just putting it out there. He is a really sassy bitch. I really hope that young man that threatened him with the grinder stuff releases that, because that would just be hilarious and delightful. But the fact that he's rolling his eyes, this is not somebody who should be representing anybody in Congress. And he should not be the Speaker of the House.
But his face told the truth. He was caught.
You said last week that you would swear in Audiobook whenever she wants. She's written a letter to your office. You've not sworn her in.
Yeah.
You understand about pro forma sessions?
Yes.
Doesn't your resistance to not swear her in add fuel to the fire that this is about the Epstein?
No. Let's talk about Grijalva and Epstein. Okay.
This entire fiasco exposes the heart of MAGA corruption. Johnson's loyalty is not to the Constitution, not to voters, not even to his oath of office. His loyalty is to Donald Trump, the man who publicly called him good boy MAGA Mike. Trump even bragged at a rally saying Johnson was doing a great job protecting America from radical left lunatics.
Protecting
Translation:
from being a predator.
Johnson is doing a great job protecting Trump's secrets.
You read that right. Create such high quality.
As much as I like Triple Studios, and I am an affiliate, I keep the links in the show notes. I have to agree with Anonymous here. He's not protecting America. He is protecting predators, which I've said, the GOP has become the party of protecting predators. Point blank.
Quality 3D models using just text. The level of detail far exceeds your imagination. Models of all types are no problem at all. It even includes stylized model texturing, effortlessly generating materials in any style you desire.
Thank you very much. Many members.
Hey, Solomon Odd. I have been great, dear. I'm finally back in a better headspace. I took a long break for mental health reasons, and I decided to come back because I'm doing 3D prints now. Just doing craft and chat. I hope you've been doing okay. I see that you're streaming gaming and stuff. I'll have that link up for people who watch this as well. Solomon is an amazing person. He inspired a character in my latest novel, Taara, Destiny's Chosen. I have got books, and it's okay. I'll text you. I still have your number, dear. I still got books and figures that I gotta get mailed out to you, True, Ziana, King Blackfang, everybody who became a character in the book. Scon and Jabberwock as well. It's just been, I needed to take a bit of a mental health break. A lot of stuff went down last year that pushed me a bit over the edge. And I did not want to come back until I was 100%. You know. Axiom Wolf and I are doing really good too. We did a vow renewal ceremony in August for our 10th anniversary. And things are just going really well for us. But I am calling out MAGA Mike Johnson, DC's biggest Trump dick gobbler. And let me get this video back up, because Anonymous is saying everything that I believe in. And I am just over this Congress. I'm over Mike Johnson. I'm over the Republicans. And Mitch McConnell can trip and fall all he wants. He needs to vacate that Senate seat.
Members of my cabinet are here. Just about all of them are here. I won't go into every single one of them, but I'll announce a few of the people that have really turned this country around and helped me. Incredible people. Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson. Where is Mike? Mike, what a job you're doing, Mike.
He's a traitor.
What a job you're doing. And I watched you this morning, and you're in there trying to say, look, just let the country open. Everything will be fine. We're dealing with some radical left lunatics. And I just wish Charlie was here to fight us. I think the fight would have been over already.
Okay.
Let's not forget.
Kirk was not in Congress. Charlie Kirk was just a turning point talking head to stoke divide and hatred. The fact that you said you wish he was here so that he could help turn things around shows just how out of touch you are with the people that used to freaking kiss your ass. He wasn't in politics, you dumb old man.
This is the same movement that claims to fight for freedom while silencing millions of voters. Yep. The same group that spent $20 billion bailing out Argentina's far-right government.
With fucking nearly $40 billion, which they turned and parlayed around to sell soybeans to China. And then we're screwed. Our farmers are screwed. But these are the people in charge fucking us over. And MAGA is just like, oh, thank you, sir. May I have another? And agreed. Trump doesn't even know how to speak. He is literally a walking excuse for the 25th Amendment. For real.
While 20 million Americans lost their health care, the same hypocrites who chant America first while leaving American families without representation. Yep. The Attorney General's letter lays it bare. Johnson's refusal is unconstitutional. The Constitution leaves the House without authority to exclude any duly elected member who meets all qualifications. There is no legal ground for his obstruction, only fear. Fear of exposure, fear of what's inside those Epstein files, fear of losing control. This isn't just about one seat in Congress. It's about whether democracy still functions when extremists control the levers of power.
Exactly. And that word extremist is so key because he is a fundy to his heart's content. The type of people that persecute people for being different. The type of people that go after what they deem are weak people. And they're awful. And Mike Johnson should not be Speaker of the House. Need I remind you that the Speaker of the House is right behind the Vice President if something happens to that doofus to take control. And America under Mike Johnson, just as the Speaker of the House, is already this bad. I can't even imagine if that guy ever got the presidency.
If a speaker can simply decide not to swear in someone he doesn't like, then elections mean nothing. Exactly. It sets a dangerous precedent that your vote can be erased by one man's command from a corrupt president. And that's why Chris May's lawsuit matters. It's not just about Arizona. It's about the rule of law. It's about accountability. It's about reminding Mike Johnson that he is not above the Constitution. What we're witnessing is the unraveling of the Maga myth, the illusion that they stand for freedom, faith, or family. In reality, they stand for power, silence, and cover up. Every move they make, every delay they spin is designed to protect the guilty and punish the honest. Adelita Grijalva's victory represents something they fear: a woman, Latina, progressive, ready to challenge them and shine light on the darkest corners of power. That's why they're terrified of her. That's why they're trying to keep her out. But make no mistake, truth always finds a way through. The Attorney General's lawsuit is just the beginning. When this case hits the courts, when evidence is presented, when the American people see how deep this corruption runs, no procedural excuse will save them. MAGA Mike has tried to turn a simple oath of office into a weapon, but the people of Arizona and the people of this country are watching.
Exactly. And the thing is, Arizona has been notorious as a red state. Not even really that purple. Like, legit, they have gone to bat for Trump over and over again. And even they are getting sick and tired of these games. especially when they have no voice in some of their districts because of this idiot. But we're going to move on to the next video on Mike Johnson because he's had a heck of a week with his nonsense. MAGA Mike's meltdown. How the mask is slipping is the next one by Anonymous News this time. Anonymous has really been on this man's ass, and I'm here for it.
Political party or a campaign. We are not loyal to any flag or any billionaire. We exist for one reason only, to expose what power tries to hide. Tonight we reveal the full story of how MAGA Mike Johnson was publicly demoted, how his own party descended into chaos, and how the Trump machine behind him is pushing America towards something darker than dysfunction. From the start, every press conference Mike Johnson has staged has fallen apart. His attempts to spin lies have blown back in his face. Americans see through him. They know who is to blame for the government shutdown, Donald Trump and MAGA Mike. It is their fingerprints on the crisis that has ripped health care from 20 million Americans while funneling billions overseas.
Yep.
Their message is simple and cruel: strip benefits from working families. Reward the rich, blame someone else. When the backlash hit, they tried something desperate. They replaced Mike with Congresswoman Lisa Mlan from...
And now that I know she's from Michigan, I really can't wait to see her lose her spot. Anybody who's helping this regime pull this shit off does not deserve a sitting congressional seat. But on top of that, and I need to make myself very fucking clear on this, no matter how they try to spin this, this is a Republican thing. And it's like Anonymous said, they are literally robbing Americans of their health care to fund shady deals overseas. It's like Lyndon B. Johnson said, if you can convince the poorest white person that it is the Negro or any minority picking his pockets, they'll look away as you rich white people pick them clean. And MAGA is proving that over and over as their base continue to fall in line with this fuckery. It is beyond me.
Michigan, hoping her voice might soften the edges of cruelty. But her speech was a rerun. She accused Democrats of giving health care to undocumented immigrants. She said, "Own it, Democrats." She shouted the same debunked talking points they've used for weeks.
Over and over
right?
again with that.
They are on the record wanting health care.
Let me find out what district you're in, bitch. You're going to lose your job. I cannot wait for the midterms.
For illegals. Own it, Democrats.
No, because it's not true, dummy.
Say it loud. Say it proud. You want to put illegals over Americans.
No matter how loud you screech it, you cannot make a lie to truth to anybody with critical thinking, hun.
Just own it.
No.
When that failed, she tried emotional theatrics, yelling about migrants waving papers and pretending outrage. She claimed Democrats had stormed the Speaker's office to force the swearing in of Aurolita Grijalva.
Which are actually crystal clear. So we don't need to do political stunts and storm the Speaker's office. And
this from the party that did January 6, 2021? We don't need political stunts like treason? Shut the fuck up, you stupid bitch.
We just have the facts on our side. And notice when you...
No, you have fiction. Don't crowd the word facts with your fiction. Because that is exactly what this is. It's a fictional narrative by people who grip power at the expense of American people.
You can't beat us on the facts.
You're not using facts, so we already won. I can't. Her voice. Let's get back to Anonymous because I feel punchy. I'm trying to keep my blood pressure down.
But in MAGA, land truth is always rewritten for the camera. Then came Tom Emmer, who called the No Kings protest a pro-terrorist march.
Radical demand.
No, it is a peaceful protest against this wannabe dumbass dictator. But you notice the language they're using to stoke their base up, because this is what all of these fake patriots who don't seem to care that our military isn't getting paid currently because of MAGA Mike's shutdown. You claim to be pro-America, but you're literally allowing our military, who are supposed to be our protectors, to go without paychecks by this awful administration. and allowing these lies about who's a terrorist. There's only one group that is doing the shutdown, and it's the party that controls the House, the Senate, and the Supreme Court, the Republicans.
Clearly, the Democrat Party of today is not your grandfather's Democrat Party. They care about one thing.
That's funny because my grandfather lived around the time of Jim Crow, and the Democrat Party of that time was very racist. And the Southern strategy is the whole reason why we've got the Democrats we have today. So I really don't want the old Democrats. But I notice how he harkened back to those Southern Dixiecrat Democrats. You're not fooling anybody with a brain, Republicans.
In one thing only, appeasing the radical pro-terrorist wing of their party.
Think about that, labeling tens of millions of Americans terrorists for wanting democracy without kings. This is the authoritarian playbook. Delegitimize dissent, criminalize protest, call patriotism treason. And then, of course, Mike Johnson took the stage to play the victim. He said Democrats stormed his office, that they berated a Capitol police officer, that they tore down his sign. In reality, he wasn't...
Wait a minute. He's whited about that after what MAGA did on January 6, 2021? Never fucking forget that these are the people who literally committed treason and was trying to stop a legal presidential vote. And this little weenie, this dick gobbler, is crying, oh, they tore a sign off my door. I doubt it. I fucking doubt it.
Wasn't even there.
Nope.
The so-called chaos existed only in his imagination.
Yep. Last night, they played some games. They stormed my office. Maybe you saw some of the video online that they themselves shared, or someone did. They berated a Capitol police officer, screamed at him. He was just merely standing his post. Shows again their disdain for law enforcement, as we see all around the country, the Democrats and everyone.
Wait a minute. You mean they disdain while you literally told the National Guard to step in because you don't think the police are doing enough of stop and frisk jobs for you? Get the fuck out of here. I really feel like we are in bizarre world. That's the only way to justify this.
In that party, screaming, assaulting ICE officers. They did it right here in the Capitol last night.
Liar.
A few members of Congress went into the little foyer of my office and tore down a sign that I had up and just engaged in all sorts of political stuff.
Did not happen. It would have been all over Fox News if that had happened. This is how you can catch them in their lies in real time. If somebody really trashed that idiot's office, he wasn't even smart enough to try to stage it himself, that it would be all over the place because this is all they have. But they expect the base, and they never fail at this, to just believe all of these bullshit lies. And that's the sad thing about this.
Stunts and antics. They've been doing that every day now, and it shows their desperation.
Johnson's goal was to change the subject from his failure to govern. His weapon is fake outrage. His enemy is accountability. But this time the trick didn't work. Leaks from Republican insiders exposed the cracks. A young Republicans' group chat was discovered filled with racist and anti-Semitic posts. One user even wrote, "I love Hitler." Reporters confronted Johnson about it. He stumbled. He deflected. He looked cornered. Suddenly the mask of faith and family shattered, and the polls...
Faith and family while praising Nazi stuff. This is who they are. Believe it. There is nothing new about Republicans like this. This is the Republican Party I've known for decades now. Anybody trying to pretend to be brand new to this is ridiculous at this point.
Show what comes next. Over 60% of Americans now blame Trump and Republicans for the shutdown. Johnson's approval has cratered. Even far-right lawmakers have begun to distance themselves. Marjorie Taylor Greene ranted that GOP men are weak. Others whispered about replacing him entirely. When the extremists turn on their own leader, you know panic has arrived. Behind the scenes, Johnson has refused to call the House back into session. The Senate blocked his funding bills. The White House ignored his calls. Reporters caught him hiding in his office, talking about prayer while the nation bleeds. This is not leadership. It is paralysis dressed as piety. But here's the truth that they don't want you to see. Mike Johnson's humiliation is not random. It's a symptom of a system built to fail. A system designed by Trump's loyalists and funded by billionaires under one name, Project 2025. Project 2025 is not conspiracy theory. It is a public document written by the Heritage Foundation and over 100 right-wing organizations. It's a plan to gut democracy from the inside out, to turn civil servants into political soldiers, to destroy agencies that protect your rights, to centralize all power under one man. Its architect is Russell Vought, the same man now running the Office of Management and Budget. Vought has already begun executing the plan. He's demanded mass firings across agencies. He's defunded programs that protect public health and the environment. He's redirected budgets to silence dissent. And while Johnson fumbles on television, Vought is doing what dictators' aides always do, tightening control quietly under the radar. He knows exactly what he's breaking. He's counting on the courts, now stacked with Trump's appointees, to shield him. You can already see the results. CDC investigators on measles and mumps gone. FEMA positions unfilled. Weather and safety programs defunded. The structure of government itself is being hollowed out. And through it all, Johnson plays the pastor, preaching morality, while presiding over decay. Meanwhile, the propaganda machine feeds the base. They say, no kings equals no paychecks. They claim protesters are terrorists.
Which is ridiculous. We are protected for protesting under the literal First Amendment. And the fact that these fascists don't want Americans to be able to peacefully protest as they run our country into the ground should tell you all you need to know. How they're anti-fascism because they're a bunch of fucking fascists.
Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said it outright. No kings equals no paychecks. Think about that. They are openly telling Americans that obedience to power is the price of survival. That's not democracy. That's feudalism with better lighting. This is how the Trump movement operates. They create chaos. They cause pain. Then they promise order, but only if you submit. That's how strong men rise. That's how nations fall. And yet, even as they try to scare you into silence, people are waking up. The No Kings marches are growing. Peaceful, determined, unafraid. Ordinary citizens are refusing to be treated like enemies. That's why Trump and his loyalists are panicking. That's why they attack the press. That's why they lie about riots that never happened. Because the one thing they fear more than exposure is unity.
Exactly. And even if we're on different sides of ideology at this point, you cannot want to see these clowns destroy our country. It's like that line in V for Vendetta, which we will be watching on the 5th of November, as we do every year in my house. The people shouldn't be afraid of their government. The government should be afraid of its people.
What we are witnessing is not just the demotion of Mike Johnson. It's the collapse of an illusion. The illusion that Trumpism could govern. The illusion that chaos is strength. The illusion that fear can hold a country together. The truth is, simpler fear exhausts. Lies corrode. Power without competence destroys itself. Maga Mike was supposed to be their steady hand. Instead, he became a symbol of how fragile their empire is when he stood behind the podium and whined about being victimized.
That aside, when he said the steady hand, I was like, yeah, his hand is steady around Trump's glizzy. Like I said, I'm going to start calling Mike DG from now on, for Dick Guzzler.
Even his allies cringed. When he tried to deflect blame to Democrats, the public laughed. And when he passed the microphone to Lessa Molan, it was over. You could see it in their eyes. The movement was eating itself alive. But make no mistake, their collapse does not mean the danger is gone.
Nope.
Project 2025 still advances. Vought still wields power. Trump still commands his cult. And every time the media treats these disasters as entertainment, the machine grows stronger. We are anonymous. We see the architecture. We trace the funding. We connect the dots. What we expose today is not just political theater. It's an organized attempt to end government by the people and replace it with government by decree. They are building a state where loyalty replaces law, where dissent is treason, where truth is whatever the strong man says it is. But history repeats itself only when the people forget. And the people are remembering. They remember what happens when leaders demonize citizens. They remember what happens when propaganda replaces fact. They remember that democracy is fragile, but it survives when people act. So here's the call. Do not look away. Do not stay silent. Speak up. Protest peacefully. Vote. Support those who defend truth. Not
exactly. Especially the vote part. Now, we've got one more, but it is starting to get to a point where I might go a little bit into overtime, but it is getting to a point where I normally quit. I want to try to get a little bit more of my Black Rainbow Bright done before the end of this. But I'm telling you right now, this got me heated. But especially with the voting stuff, because as much as I want to give praise to the citizens that are getting out there to peacefully protest, those numbers in the street don't matter if you're not getting your asses to a ballot box or mailing your ballots in and keeping up to make sure they're counted, because I do not put it past this administration to fuck with that at all. It is going to be a fight for everything we hold dear, and we cannot afford to mess around with this. But I'm going to quickly play this last video, make a little bit more commentary as I get more finer touches on this Rainbow Bright done, and then I am going to wrap it up. But let's get this one fired up, because it is Anonymous News' Fall of Maga Mike and the Secret. Oh, that's the one we just watched. Never mind then. Where is the other one? Give me just a moment. Nope, we watch. Let's see. I guess that was it then, unless we didn't watch this one. Because I know we just watched The End of Democracy. We didn't watch this one, so let's play.
We are anonymous. We speak when power refuses to listen, and we act when corruption hides behind ceremony. What you are about to hear is not politics. It is the collapse of reason on live television. This is Anonymous reveals Maga Mike's rage on reality TV as he loses control. It began early this morning when Speaker Mike Johnson, the self-proclaimed moral compass of the MAGA movement, stepped before the cameras to deliver what was supposed to be a press briefing. Instead, America witnessed a man unraveling. Standing stiffly, face pale under the lights, he muttered a line that will echo through history.
It's a great question. Manu asks, why don't I change my strategy? I don't have any strategy, Manu. I'm doing the right thing, the clear...
He doesn't have any strategy. He's not doing the right thing. Point blank period. I'm glad I fired this one up, because I wanted you to see this weasel for who he is.
Really obvious thing, the traditional thing, that's exactly what Chuck Schumer voted for in March of this year and gave impassioned speeches was the...
And then you change the wording on those bills to take over 20 million Americans off their health care. You keep framing this as if Chuck Schumer didn't go back for a reason. He could not agree to such an asinine, obvious ploy to harm American people.
Right and only thing. I don't have anything to negotiate.
You could almost hear jaws dropping. Reporters exchanged looks of disbelief. The Speaker of the United States House of Representatives had just admitted, live on air, that he had no plan. Not for the economy, not for governance, not for the millions of Americans whose livelihoods were frozen by his inaction. A CNN correspondent pressed him.
You've been doing this every single day, coming up here trying to pressure Senate Democrats. They've been not budging. They've blocked this bill time and time again. So at what point, for the good of the country, do you need to change your strategy to try to negotiate a deal with them?
Johnson fumbled, smirked, and said, "That's a great question. I don't have any strategy. I'm doing the right traditional thing." He repeated the phrase like a broken record. I don't have anything to negotiate. That single moment summed up the state of MAGA leadership. No direction, no plan, just deflection and denial. Even younger journalists began calling out the absurdity. A 22-year-old Gen Z reporter reminded Johnson that in 5th grade, civics, children learn that democracy depends on communication and compromise. Apparently, Maga Mike skipped that class. Then came the question that broke him. A Fox News host, not CNN, not MSNBC, but Fox, asked why he still refused to swear in Congresswoman-elect Adelita Grijalva. She had won her seat fairly, yet Johnson...
Even Fox News is tired of their shit. Can you imagine? These are people that helped elect most of these fuckers, and they're tired of it. Because people they know. If they're, especially their base, don't have money, they aren't going to watch Fox News anymore, and they're not going to pay for their shit.
And continued blocking her without explanation. The host pushed further. Is this linked to the Epstein Files vote? The speaker froze. His face twitched. And then came the deflection that revealed everything. Let's talk about Grijalva and Epstein.
You said last week that you would swear in Adelita Grijalva whenever she wants. She's written a letter to your office. You've not sworn her in.
Yeah.
You understand about pro forma sessions?
Yes.
Doesn't your resistance to not swear her in add fuel to the fire that this is about the Epstein?
No. Let's talk about Grijalva and Epstein. Okay. Once more.
He said nervously. The room erupted in confusion. Behind him, Congresswoman Melan could be seen making strange, animated faces, disbelief, irritation, maybe even embarrassment. The entire stage looked like a bad reality TV episode. America was watching dysfunction dressed as leadership. And then came the rant. Johnson tried to steer the conversation into absurd culture war territory, blaming able-bodied young men playing video games for draining Medicaid funds.
What?
He called them freeloaders, claiming they were taking...
So now he's going after gamers? Oh my gosh. These old, out-of-touch motherfuckers just need to stop. It's embarrassing. Given that, especially gaming between game streamers who make money, esports who make money, is now almost $1 billion industry, it is hilarious to me that Mike Johnson decided this was the fight he wanted to pick. What a fucking idiot. He's an idiot.
Taking resources from pregnant women and the elderly.
But also remove a very reasonable
and the saddest part about this is that you have some dumb old people, especially dumb old Republicans, that'll eat this up. Yeah, it is these young kids that are on these programs that are making it harder for us. No, the fuck it's not. He is pulling shit out of his ass and putting it on a sandwich and eating it up. Ridiculous.
modest work requirement that we put on able-bodied young men with no dependents. As we've said, they should not be riding the wagon and taking Medicaid. That is intended for vulnerable populations, the elderly, disabled, and young pregnant women, for example, and not young able-bodied men without dependents who are playing video games. We put that...
Show proof or shut the fuck up. Because you're launching a really, really big claim about Medicaid and Medicare abuse, which Medicaid, from everything I know about it, you can't just get on that as an able-bodied person. So I don't even know where he's coming up with that. But you got to have facts to back this up. You can't just throw this out, have people targeting a group of gamer guys because you want to deflect from your derelict of duties, Mike Johnson. It's ridiculous.
That into the law because it's common sense.
This bizarre talking point about video gamers destroying America was delivered as if it explained the government shutdown. It was incoherent, desperate, and detached from reality. Exactly. Even within his own ranks, the discomfort was visible. Representative Steve Scalise tried to take the microphone, attempting to steady the ship. Instead, he blamed Chuck Schumer for throwing a temper tantrum to appease radical anti-American protesters.
Where the contrast of Chuck Schumer throwing a temper tantrum here at home just to appease the most radical elements.
Chuck Schumer, and I don't have a lot of love lost for him. He's another one that I feel like, once he can find a protege, he needs to wrap it up. I'm tired of all these old heads in government right now. Because a lot of them are just holding back actual progress. There, I said it. I don't care. I've always been more of a pragmatist than a full leftists or whatever they want to call these newfangled progressives who haven't graduated romper room. I'm just tired of these old fuckers holding shit up, period. But the fact of the matter is, no matter how much you try to deflect, this motherfucker behind you, that perverted failed Hydra agent, literally said that male gamers are the reason why 20 million Americans are being kicked off of Medicaid, and it's ridiculous. It's a fucking lie.
Of his base, so that on the 18th, when they have the Hate America rally that everybody knows is coming.
No King's rally. It's not a hate America. It's because they love America and don't want to see it fall to a dumb dictatorship.
And that everybody knows Chuck Schumer needs to deliver a shutdown government to them.
No, we didn't want the government to shut down. Once again, another lie. Yous are the ones working for your boy Trump to hide Epstein files and all the shady dealings that Kushner and that other motherfucker is doing in the Middle East and beyond. That is the reason why you've allowed this government shutdown. And the fact that you are out here literally trying to blame peaceful protesters for this is why it is so insidious to be a Republican right now. I can't even imagine anybody I know who claims to be a conservative being down with this. But if you are in a cult. Sorry to tell you that.
To appease them. Well, how about you think about us? How about you think about those families?
How about you think about the U.S.? How about you stop putting your craven Republican needs over the needs of the American populace? Because we're getting sick and tired of your lies and excuses. You control the House. You control the Senate. You control the Supreme Court. You are the reason for this shutdown. 17 days. It's ridiculous.
Who are struggling today because of Chuck Schumer's shutdown.
No, because of Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans.
There are real consequences to what Chuck Schumer is doing.
To what Mike Johnson and his Republican jackboots are doing.
Regardless of who he thinks he's appeasing, he is hurting.
He is protecting American people from being unceremoniously kicked off their health care under the guise of it being gamers now. This is a new one to me. I'm really glad I played this video because this is a doozy to me. They will use anybody as scapegoats. And if you are a male gamer who knows you're not on Medicaid and Medicare or any of these programs that these liars are trying to use you as a scapegoat for, not only should you be outraged, but you should take that outrage to the ballot and get these fuckers out of power. There's always been such disrespect for gamers, and it's really unwarranted and unfair. But as now you can see, even these fucking Republican scumbags that a lot of you turn around and vote for, especially when you get older, don't respect you. Don't respect your craft and think that you're a drain on programs that are meant to help people. Remember that and vote accordingly.
So many people, millions and millions of people.
Scalia's tone was hysterical. He accused Democrats of staging a shutdown, even though it was Johnson's refusal to negotiate that froze Congress.
Yep.
The hypocrisy was thick enough to choke on. Then came Congresswoman Milan's exasperated outburst, just past the bipartisan clean funding bill that the House already approved.
But the way to...
Consecutive week, the lights in the chamber were off, the doors locked, the People's House silent. Democratic lawmakers continued showing up, holding shadow hearings on the Capitol steps, refusing to surrender the narrative. Congressman Bowles summed it up simply. When you're yelling, you're probably not winning. He even thanked Johnson for his honesty, admitting he had no strategy, before warning that the MAGA leadership had completely misjudged the political landscape. They thought Democrats would cave. They thought Trump's ghost would protect them. They thought chaos was a plan. Meanwhile, the numbers tell a different story. Healthcare premiums in states like Pennsylvania are expected to rise by more than 100%. 20 million Americans risk losing their coverage. Federal workers are furloughed. Vital programs like the CDC
and this was before. So if the other one has announced that it has happened, it is because I played these out of sync. This was before people really did start getting let go of their insurance. And this is what the Republicans want. People broke, people sick, and people fighting each other.
NIH and Head Start have been forced to suspend operations. Over 900,000 government employees have stopped receiving paychecks. And through it all, Johnson smiles for cameras claiming victory. Donald Trump from Mar-a-Lago cheers him on, the con man applauding his apprentice. Trump still insists that healthcare costs have dropped 1,600%.
That's not
Think about
number.
that number. Even his own advisors can't explain it. It's mathematical fiction, a lie so blatant it almost feels like parody. But Johnson repeats it, because to survive in Trump's orbit, you must parrot the lie or be cast out. Even Marjorie Taylor Greene has begun to fracture under the absurdity. She went public, slamming Johnson's leadership for skyrocketing healthcare costs. His response invite her into private talks to calm her down, a clear sign of crack.
First of all, he's treating her like a toddler, but this isn't the first time she did this. The guy before him, and I'm blanking at his name, I don't care, he was an idiot anyway, that took 15 confirmations. Marge went after him too. She is like a fucking shark. She's not doing it for the good of the American people. She's doing it for her own selfish means. But I'm going to get ready to wrap this up, y'all. I'm a bit in the overtime. I will definitely be back on Tuesday, but I'm thinking I'm going to change the format up just a little bit this time and have a review of a C-drama that I really want to watch with you. It's going to be auto-dubbed to start you off. And even though I hate the auto-dub because I don't feel like it conveys the Chinese characters' passions better, I think because it's under an hour, this will be better to just test the format. And then we'll do the longer formatted C-dramas for the YouTube stuff. Either way, I want to thank you for watching. Thank you, Solomon Isles, for sitting in. I will have this up on YouTube probably tomorrow to cover the weekend and stuff. It is an upload from my Twitch cast. Thank yous again for sitting and watching. And remember, this government shutdown is a result of Maga Mike Johnson and Donald Trump. You can't blame anybody else for it. I will have my alternative version of Rainbow Bright done, and you will see her in all her pretty brown glory on Tuesday. But for now, I'm going to wrap this up. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next week.